All righty. Well, so we're moving on now to book 2. So now we come to a new book and a new aspect of Meher Baba that is being presented. I went over this a lot yesterday, but just to touch on it again. We have 5 books, and as I understand it, the first 3 books are presenting who Meher Baba is. The theme of the book is Stay with God. So who is God in the first place? Well, God means the God-man, is who Francis is focusing on. So the first 3 books present Meher Baba, as I understand it, in different aspects. So the first book that we were just looking at is Merwan Sharia Irani, 1894 through 1955 is when he stops here. His life story, which, as you see, he's presented in a very epic and interpretive way, bringing out many major themes in the course of doing so. Okay, book 2, he's going to present Baba in a completely different aspect. You know, like God Speaks, Baba, talked about the creation of the universe and God and his various states, etc. But in his communications with his lovers, especially messages to his lovers, Baba didn't focus on that. Usually, his theme was love. And, God is love, and love must love. And to love, there must be a lover and beloved. You probably know that message from the Everything and the Nothing. And in that aspect, Meher Baba is the divine beloved. And his lovers are lovers of the beloved. And that's the fundamental modality that Meher Baba encouraged in his relationship with us. Right? So in the second book, Francis is looking at Baba that way, as the beloved of his lovers. In book 3, he'll be looking at Baba as universal God, creator, sustainer, dissolver of the universe, and the soul who completes the journey through that universe. But here it's the most personal aspect. So he's turns book 2 into a love song. So it's the love song of John Carey, Illusion Singing to Reality. These subtitles, this really gives his concept of design for the whole book. The table of contents is really worth studying. So book 1 was the occurrence of reality. That's what the avatar is. The avatar is reality, God, occurring, happening within the illusory world. So it's an event. But now, the illusion itself gets its turn to sing to reality. So the love song of John Carey. So that's what he turns to here. This, let me see. Sorry, I have to go back to this one. A reminder of the formal design of the whole thing. Okay, book 1, as we are looking at it, is divided into 7 sections. And as I said yesterday, the division into sections is not just some division that I'm doing or anything. It's a now formal division. There's a line in the text, in the page, marking a section. So these are actually marked by Francis as 7 sections. Book 2 is 1 section only. And it has 24 stanzas, so it's a lot shorter than book 1 was. The section 6 of book that we're looking at, that's the section about the 1955 Sahabas where John Carey gets introduced and Baba's a discourse to the four language groups is related by Francis in his own account. That section is 24 stanzas also. So there's a numerological aspect to Stay With God. He's paying a lot of formal dimensions of everything in the number of stanzas. That is linked with that very section of the biography in which this character, John Carey, is introduced. Both are 24 stanzas long. The first book had stanzas. You know what a stanza is, right? It's a formal division of lines. It's marked by a space at the end of a stanza. Okay, so you can see it right there on the page. The stanzas in Book 1 were 7 lines each. Now he switches to a 6-line stanza. And this is my own, how this impressions my own poetic register. I find a 7-line stanza to have a kind of completeness to it. And a 6-line stanza I find to be fundamentally incomplete. It needs the last line to finish it off. It's a more restless kind of a form of something. It doesn't complete itself within a stanza. And to my mind, that is well suited to the purposes of a love song. Because the lover is incomplete. The lover is restless. The lover needs to be completed by union with the beloved. Anyway, I feel that when I read the love song of John Carey. Now, some other things. Francis is working here with the conventions of... I'll give my notes of the love song genre. Okay, but before I get to that, let me just say in the fuller version of this, I go over various love songs. We don't have the scope to do that here. But where is it? Yeah. We read this, and I'll just remind you of it. Besides there was one, John Carey, an Irish-English Australian, right? You remember this? We were looking at this morning. And this is clearly Francis Brabazon. So why do you think he would want to put in this, surrogate, rather than to say, and besides these, there was me. I was there. Why not?
Representative of every man?
Yeah, it does help. It does help to distance from himself. It's like, I was there, and I'd say, oh, I wish I could have been there too. There's a little of that. And it enables him both to look at this John Carey. When John Carey starts to speak in Book 2, it's a personal voice is issuing from this John Carey. It's an opening for a personal voice. Objectify this John Carey as a person within a story. So it enables the poem to look at this person both objectively and subjectively. And it makes possible 2 viewpoints there. So it's more useful. And this is also an epic. The whole thing, I think, is an epic. And it allows the introduction of a personal voice into it without having it take over. It's sort of a point which then close it down again. And he very much does that in Book 2. So it enables a dual perspective. That's at least what it looks like to me. Yeah, it just sounds to me like a typical name. Irish, Australian, English, name like that. If it means more than that, I don't know. Actually, at Mariana, somebody did Google it and looked up Carey, and they came up with something that was kind of interesting. But unfortunately, I've forgotten.
Weren't there two people beside them? Wasn't Don Stevens here also?
Yes, but Francis is not. It's not like he's writing a history. He's giving a vision, and he's introducing this character because he's going to use this character for a personal voice. John, Christ's disciple John, is known as the disciple of love. So it would be suitable for someone who's to be the source of a love song. So that might be a reason for that. We saw a picture this morning in the Kailash temple of John Perry, who is the artist who did the drawings here. So I always tease him that, he didn't want to rescue John. He made it John Kerry, instead of John Perry. Yeah. Do you have any thoughts about why that might be? John Kerry?
Ireland is Kerry. It's also a carrying something.
Yeah, it could be. Somebody looked it up, and I should have written down in my notes. There was an interesting association. Yeah. There.
Is it a town or a county or something like that?
I've forgotten. I thought there was something sort of like that. I'm going to have to Google it and actually put it into my notes. Did you want to say something?
I have a question. Is there any reason that translation can use it
I can't think of anything specially. It does, I suppose, since it's an Irish, English, Australian, to bring that in does kind of put it into a broader context than just Western. Of course, Francis himself was extremely well versed in those things, and that's also part of it. He was, really in Stay With God, we get an extraordinary cross-cultural perspective of these things. And his knowledge of these traditions, particularly for somebody in that time when he wrote it, is pretty amazing. Especially for somebody who grew up in rural Australia with no money and no education. Kind of amazing. Yeah. So, but Francis was the only Westerner to join Baba as one of the resident Mandalay after 1939. In 30 years, he was the only one to get in, after William Donkin did in that earlier year. And he was also one of the few to join Baba as a resident Mandalay as an old man, or as, coming into his old age. Most of them, the resident Mandalay, joined Baba earlier. He must have been an unusual guy to have what it took to stay with Baba, which was not easy. There. So here we have this character introduced. Now, here are some of the some thoughts on the love song genre. And of course, most of you would be well acquainted with love songs. It's one of the most popular popular song forms and popular lyric poetry forms in world literature. It's of tremendous universal appeal. And it has its own conventions that we're well familiar with. So a lot of what this book of Francis is doing is working with love song conventions in various ways. And once again, he is very much working with them and transforming them. As we saw, like with the heroic, where he really he interprets it in a spiritual way, in spiritual terms, as a journey to the path. Well, the love song he does that with also. Now, of course, he's not the first one ever to do so. The mystics, various traditions, have done that too. In Western tradition, a great example would be St. John of the Cross. Have any of you ever read St. John of the Cross? It's well worth it. The Dark Night of the Soul is a poem, a love song of his. When we did the Marana version of this, we spent actually a whole session on love songs, looking at secular and spiritual ones. Sufi poetry does the same thing. Hindu devotional poetry goes the same way. Some of the there are love songs to Krishna that actually become erotic. Radha singing to Krishna like that. in the Bible, the Old Testament, the Song of Songs is very much a love. Actually, it might have been written as a love song, literally, but it was interpreted within the Christian tradition as the soul's love song to God. So Francis is working with all of that. Now, some of the characteristics of love songs I find to be interesting. Let's just take typical love songs, leave aside the God side of it, right? Like a country song or something. Like, there's a heartache following me. There's an example which most of you would know. Okay. One of the things I have observed in my life on this earth is that the world and the worldly mind likes winners. That is to say, whether they really like winners or not, they're attracted to winners. Isn't that true? If you're a winner, people seek you out. Maybe they don't really like you. Maybe they just hate you secretly, but they seek you out because they want what you have. And the worldly mind does not like losers. Maybe out of a spirit of compassion, somebody will, there's the better side of human nature, I'm not denying. But the worldly mind, oh, I'm really sorry that everything's worked out so badly from you. Roadrunner, I'm away. That's how the world is. When you're successful, everybody loves you. When you're a failure, everybody leaves you. Isn't that true? Not everybody. I mean, there's the better side of human nature, but the world is like that. Did you want to?
You're not saying that those people that they love teenage and they run from the loser.
Yeah.
There are friends, but they are flying around the streets.
Yes, that's right. It's like that. That's the way of the world. And yet, the characteristic posture of the love song singer is, I'm a loser, is it not? There's a heartache following me. There are various themes that are very characteristic, like I put a smiling face to the world, but inside I'm being massacred, and I hide my grief from the world, but she doesn't love me, and she rejects me, and I'm just worthless, like that. And yet, it's the most popular song form. Isn't that interesting? It's quite, you write a love song about what a loser I am, and how she's rejected me, and I make $1 million and I'm famous all over the world. It's a kind of an interesting twist. It's like the love song, somehow that genre gives a license to express the things you would ordinarily hide from the world and you would not show. And because people actually feel that way in their heart of hearts very often, they love songs. And it's kind of a sanctioned space in which you can say things that you would never say otherwise. Do you agree with that? I think it's so. I mean, like a good love song, I know it's like Yesterday by Paul McCartney, it's that kind of thing. Where why she had to go, I don't know. She wouldn't say. I said something wrong, and now I blew it somehow. So you have these themes of, I wouldn't usually say that she is sort of better than me, or I'm subject to her whims, but in love songs you do say that. There's a kind of a license and a space granted, and people love it. It somehow, because there's a formal distance in the love song genre, you can open yourself to that without having to really show yourself to the world. You can show yourself without doing so. Something like that goes on with the love song genre. So that's one of the conventions. There are certain. So the beloved is superior to me. I am the loser, and the beloved has, and I lack. And another one of the things would be, I'm begging the beloved, because the beloved is it has the key to my happiness, and I'm seeking from the beloved to give me, to give it to me. So there's the beloved is flawless in this vision. Even when the beloved is like the cruel, oh, what a cruel beloved you are. Well, why are you cruel? You're cruel because you won't give your love to me. It's not really a fault. It's just an aspect of your beauty and your belovedness. So that You're perfect and I'm not. You have and I lack. You're everything and I'm nothing. Right? So it actually is very adaptable to the lover of God if it's reinterpreted that way. Another theme which often comes up, it doesn't have to in the love song of John Kerry, but it does in many love songs, is a sense of I had a love in the past and I lost it. There's a memory. I'm remembering something that was a state of union, and I'm separate for it, and I long to have it again. And a masterful song expressing that theme is "Begin to Begin," where there's this memory when they begin. It brings back the sound of music so tender. It brings back a night. Brings back how so? Because I was doing that once, and it brings it back into my memory. And to live it again is past. I could never do that again, except when that tune clutches my heart and brought back into that state. So there's a theme of remembrance, and often a theme of a kind of a repentance. What moments divine, what raptures serene, till clouds came along to disperse the joys that we tasted. Okay, something happened, and knowing love songs, it's probably we had a quarrel or something like that happened. And now when I hear people curse the joys that chance that was wasted, okay, it was wasted. In other words, there was a mistake. I made a mistake. I threw away an opportunity. So there's a theme of repentance that often comes up in love songs too, and a longing for redemption. So we all know these sorts of things because these are so popular and the same themes. I spent a whole 2-hour session in Mariana. We're going over about Shakespeare and various love songs, looking at some of the conventions. So when Francis is entering into this genre, this is a very well-established and well-known genre in many different language and cultural traditions. The English language, of course, has them, but really every language I've ever heard of does. It's maybe the most universal and most popular of all lyric forms that he's working within. So, but now Francis does, even granting that there have been mystic poets who have used the love song genre, Francis does some very unusual things with it and some really remarkable transformations. In fact, I myself haven't ever read a love song like this, even among the mystic poets, but I would be glad to be educated on this. But I mean, I've read a good bit of Rumi and other people, but there's a lot I haven't read. So I'd like to know if anyone has any thoughts, or things on this. But for example, here is a theme that Francis brings in. I'll just bring up this one theme and then we'll start to look at it. Baba's the everything and the nothing, the theme of the everything and the nothing, right? You wouldn't think that that's a great theme for a love song, would you? On the face of it, it doesn't seem like that. It seems very philosophical. And here's how Baba uses that theme. It's actually presented in, we'll read this in a second, but the greatest exposition on the theme of the everything and the nothing in Baba's literary oeuvre is in God Speaks. A number of other places too. But at the beginning of Book 8 in God Speaks, Baba starts talking about the everything and the nothing. And we could spend a long time just on this one subject. But in a way, it is Baba's explanation on what I would call Tawhid. You know what Tawhid is? Some of you Iranians would know. Oneness. It's often said to be the central doctrine of Islam, which is that God is one. And Baba's version of Tawhid has it that God alone is real. Only God exists. And then the question is, well, if only God exists, what about us? Where did everything else come from? And Baba's basic answer to it is, creation is nothing. There is the everything and the nothing. And nothing is really and truly nothing. It does not exist at all. But if everything is to be everything, it has to include nothing also, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So it has to encompass that. So we are nothing pretending to be something. Like Rosie thinks she's Rosie, but she's actually nothing. Or to go beyond that, she's actually everything. Everything who thinks she's nothing, who's pretending to be something. She's pretending that she's Rosie, and in the process, deluding herself that she's not also Sam and Charlie. Right. We're actually everything. Okay, so this is Baba's account of how God can be everything and where all of this can come from. Right. I'm just alluding to a topic that Baba talks about a lot in many of his books. Infinite Intelligence has long treatments on this too, in various ways. Okay, you wouldn't think that this would be subject matter for a love song. At least I wouldn't have thought so. It seems too philosophical, too theological, and all of that. But Francis brilliantly makes it into the theme of a love song. And he does so in this way. It actually, and at least I can very well relate to this, is, you are everything, Baba, but I can't even be nothing. Damn it all, I keep being here. Give me some real role to play or annihilate me. Don't leave me suspended in this in this zone where I can't be either this or that. Now, haven't you experienced that? Because I sure have. Where you want to have a role or you want to do something of value, but somehow you can't do it. But you can't even not exist either. So you're caught in this limbo. When I was in Mandalay Hall with Erich, I would feel this way all the time. I don't know if any of you, I always wanted to somehow say something clever or something enlightening or something that contributed to the discussion, because he was so wonderful. The guy was so wonderful. But I just felt like a deadhead, And so that state of wanting to somehow do something to confirm my existence and worth. I'm here too. I'm a good guy. But I couldn't do that, and I couldn't not exist. Now, I think with Baba, that dilemma was central to the experience of his darshan. You would want to have his pleasure. You would want him to be, for Baba to be pleased with you, would be the most wonderful experience in the whole world. And you would do anything to get him to be pleased with you. But very rarely would he. He would give you pleasure for a moment. You'd be caught in this position of, I know that I'm nothing, but I'm still here. What do I do about this? So in this way, Francis develops on this throughout the whole thing. This is the central theme of the whole song. And so he makes the everything and the nothing into a poetic theme used in a love song. So I think this is quite a brilliant poetic accomplishment, actually. And he explores this dilemma throughout the whole thing. Here's Baba gave this, part of this appeared in the circular, part of it didn't, but this is one of Baba's messages for Stay With God. He gave 3 messages for Stay With God. This is one of them. And it's directly on this topic. So this is the high philosophy of it all. Out of that nothing, mind came. That nothing would be the infinite nothing, the nirvana state, the infinite, the natural darkness, nothing with a capital N. Out of mind came this everything. Do you know what this everything is? Creation. What we see around us. The false everything. Out of mind came, out of nothing mind came. Out of mind came energy. Energy holds this everything. Out of mind came this matter. Matter means this everything. Okay, this is mental sphere, right? This is subtle sphere, and this is gross sphere. There's a processional, there's a emanation process. This everything, that's the false everything, is also nothing coming out of that everything. That's the real, the reality of God. This nothing has come out of that nothing. That nothing has come out of that everything. Yeah, this is this kind of God speaks lingo that has people's heads spinning. It actually makes perfect sense. Right? This nothing has taken the form of everything, right? Nothing it presents itself like this world that we see. When actually this world that we see is nothing at all. This nothing has taken the form of everything, which is not everything. That is the reality of God. Out of formless everything, formless nothing has come. Out of formless nothing. There's a mistake here. If you looked in your books, I think this is formful. I don't know if you have your books. I think this is a type of it. This is taken from the Trust website. I have to remind them to make some corrections here. I think it should be formful nothing. Right? Anyway, maybe you found it. Now we have this great message from Baba. We must lose ourselves in order to find ourselves. Thus loss is gaining. We must die to self in order to live in God. Thus death is life. We must become completely void in order to become completely possessed. Thus, complete emptiness needs absolute fullness. We must become shed of selfhood in order to become absorbed in the infinity of God. Thus, nothing means everything. This is one of the great messages of Baba's, actually. It's on this theme of the everything and the nothing. So Baba gave Francis this message specifically for inclusion in his book, and he brings it right into his love song. So I wanted to bring that up as one of the creative accomplishments of the love song of John Carey, turning this metaphysical theme into subject matter for a love song. Okay, so now, let's see if there's anything else preliminary. Okay. Now, he begins it, the love song. This is 24 stanzas, as I say. He begins it and ends it with a frame. That is to say, John Carey is introduced in the third person. So there's an object, he's an object in the poem. And then about 5 or 6 stanzas, then John Carey starts to speak, and then we get the first person voice, right? And we have the first person voice through most of it, and the very last stanza, we pull back again, and John Carey is seen in the third person. So we have both the outer and inner point of view. He's an object in discourse, and he's the subject of it, speaking. It's part of Francis's technique in all of this. Now, he does something really striking. Okay, along with the everything and the nothing is the central metaphysical content of his love song. The dominant image is a heroic one. And this is an amazing transformation of the heroic theme. You'll see it in the third stanza. So, back in Australia, we had him, he was in India at the Saharas, right? In the 1955 thing. We read about that this morning. Now, back in Australia, the most east of the West, John Carey continued the exile he had begun so many millions of lives ago through his own act of waking up. This is anticipating Book 3, which will be on this subject, the God Speaks theme. And wanting to know exactly who he was, a musical question which turned out to be a fugal composition, infinite possible element. This is the God Speaks theme. Next book he'll develop this. Sun beat and rain beat. We saw that this morning, right? It's like if you're traveling in a very hard journey, the sun beats on you. And then the rain comes up, and the rain is whipping into your face. He's talking about this as the experience of our journey through illusion through our millions of lifetimes. Sun beat and rain beat. Veil upon veil. Now this whole stanza is about veils. So let's try to look at what this means. Day veil of brightness, night veil of dark, face veils, form veils, gossamer spun, cloud crowded close and thickly. What the heck is this about? Face veils. when I look at you, all right, since you're you, when you look at me, do you see the real me?
No.
You do not. The real me is God. What do you see? You see a face. That face is the veil covering the reality. The reality is God. God alone exists. Everything that we see is a veil covering what is real. So he's reinterpreting all of our daily experience as dealing with veils, covers, and the realities behind it. Okay? This is the Sufi figure. His Hindu devotional literature doesn't use the figure of the veil quite so much, but in the Islamic world, there's the hijab and the burqa, the various veils that women would wear. And in Sufi literature, that became a symbol for the beauty of God, because the veil conceals, and you want to see the face behind the veil, and the veil lures and tantalizes and draws, but it hides at the same time. So the Sufi poets would play with that figure all the time. So Francis is really using the Sufi figure here, metaphysically. Okay. Sail veils and flag veil hoisted over veil of sea. What do you think all this is about? Flag veil?
Nationalism?
Yeah. So okay, let's be Homeric about it. So, hey, they stole Helen of Troy. So what do? We get in our boats, don't we? And why do we hoist a flag? Because we're the Achaeans by God, and we're going to go punch the faces of these darn Trojans, right? And the flag is the symbol. This is who I am, and this is my cause. This is my banner. Why is that a veil? Yeah. Am I really an Achaean? I'm not. In my next lifetime, I'll probably be a Trojan. Or maybe I won't be Helen of Troy. That might take a while. But I might be somebody's beloved, right? Like that. So these are just veils covering the truth. There's great causes. I'm going to fight this great cause and do this great thing or that great thing. It's just a veil. Causes are veils. Sails. Okay, Francis uses as a central symbol of the spiritual journey getting in a boat and traveling in a boat. The Homeric, Odyssean symbol for the journey of the soul. Your body is your boat. Well, in these kinds of boats, a sail is kind of like a veil, isn't it? It's sort of made of cloth. It suits well.
In French, the same word.
Veil.
Wrong.
What? For sail.
Sail and veil.
Yeah. And it's my means of propulsion. And my means of propulsion is another delusion. The thing that moves my boat. I'm just deceiving myself. Flag over veil of sea. Now look at that. I'm sailing in the ocean. Well, isn't the ocean God? Isn't it God? Not the ocean that I experience. The ocean that I experience is not the reality of God. It conceals God. The universe of experience is hiding God. Everything that we experience is a veil. So he's doing that reinterpretation right here. Veil voyage and returning. Rain veil, weeping. Isn't that beautiful? It's like, all those tears that are falling down, they're a veil. My grief is a veil. I'm not really sad. I'm God. I'm not happy. I'm God. And a place he hoped where none knew of ships and journeying and the far shadowing sphere of his glance. Baba, thou beloved. He's bringing in a new element here. But one thing that this makes me think of is in the Odyssey. I bet you Francis was referencing this. At the very end, when he gets back to Ithaca, and he's killed the suitors, and he's reunited with his wife. His wife, Penelope, reminds me of Mara. She's kind of that type. But he's been given one last instruction by the prophet Tiresias, and that is, as the last thing he needs to do, he needs to travel far inland until he comes to a place where no one had ever heard of the ocean or journeying. And there's some sign, I forget what it is, someone will ask him a question. When that happens, he should be carrying an oar with him and plant the oar in that place. Okay. Now, let's take a Francis Brabazon point of view. What might that symbolize?
Are you going to Australia?
You're going, Australia, deep, the outback of Australia, to go to a place where no one is aware, no one has ever heard of the inner journey, where people are completely ignorant of that journey. Right? It's an emptiness, the emptiness of the world. And put a symbol there to give people a hint that one day you will have to make this journey. Journeying is for you too. So it's sort of like service to people who have no idea of higher spirituality at all. Something like that. That's how I would think of it. Well, it's like John Kerry is saying, I wish I had never heard of God. Baba has been nothing but trouble to me, I wish I could get away from this beloved. It's like a hint back here. And a place where he hoped where none knew of ships and journeying, in the far shadowing sphere of his glance. Okay, here's the heroic image. Do you know what a metaphor is? What is a metaphor? Okay, what's the metaphor here? Yeah, an implied comparison between two completely different things. Like, my love is a rose. Well, unless I'm really a really dedicated horticulturalist, what I mean to say is that the woman I love is beautiful as a rose is beautiful. So there's an implied comparison with a point of similarity joining two disparate things, a rose and a woman, let's say. And what joins them is they're both beautiful. Okay. So what's the metaphor here? The far shadowing sphere of his glance. See, it's a metaphor. What's being compared with what? Yeah, the glance is being compared to a sphere. And the sphere pierces into you, and the glance pierces into you. Right? That's this point of similarity. This is the dominant metaphor in the love song of John Kerry. How is this a heroic image, a heroic metaphor? Yeah, it's comparing Baba's love, being loved by Baba, to being killed by a spear. Baba's love kills me. A lot of love songs talk about this, killing me softly with your love. But this is not softly with your love, killing me cruelly with your spear. Baba's love is a spear that stabs me. Thus, you see, we had the heroic brought up earlier. Now, what an unusual transformation. The dominant the metaphor is, Baba is the spearman who is stabbing me to death. I'm the loser. He's really the loser, huh? He's the loser in a battle. And if you've read the Iliad, there's scene after thousands of lines of warfare, and with spears. And the greatest of all the warriors is Achilles, and he kills one person after another with a spear. And this is a Homeric image, the far shadowing spear. I forget what the Greek is, but the spear flies this like shadows, like not just literal shadows, but the image or the memory of, oh my God, I have to face Achilles tomorrow. Oh, he'll kill me. That's a shadow reflected out in so many different ways. It's a Homeric image. So he's turning Baba into the spearman who is killing him. It's that application of the heroic paradigm is being used in a love song. So this has been used in other love songs, like "Love is an arrow," or "You're shooting me with your arrow." But I haven't seen it quite done like this before. Now he's given veils, and now look at how he puts these two together. Nursing his wound. Okay, John Kerry, is wounded by the spearman. Never healing, but widening, because the spearhead remained in it. Widening and love festering. What is festering? Rotting. But it's love festering. So it turns out to be different. I think it should be sloughing. I think this is probably what does sloughing mean? Shedding, yeah. So I'm shedding flesh. My flesh is dropping off as I love fester. Love whiting cleanly, right? This isn't a typical wound. Usually it's pussy, everything. This isn't that. This is cleanly. And the spearhead of bliss entering more deeply into the flesh veils. Okay, we're given a key here. What is flesh veils? We had all these veils here. This is samskaras, yeah. All these are false impressions. My experience is all made of false impressions. And that's what I am comprised of, my false self. All these false impressions. And this spear is stabbing me, and all the veil of the flesh, which is comprised of all these veils of ignorance, are all falling off. And I'm dying this agonizing, blissful death. Okay. Ever more hungrily, healingly, the spearhead is hungrily devouring me, and as it does so, I'm being healed. And now we have Francis the farmer. As the sun into earth, when the farmer sets his plow more deeply into the sour subsoil, where no sun has been before. Now we have an agricultural image, right? It's grinding up the earth deeper than it's ever been, where the sun has never gotten, and the sun, like the spear, is going into that. I think this is quite a brilliant transformation of the themes he's given us so far. In love song terms, being killed by love and the veils of ignorance falling off. No? Yeah. There's so much that in this poem. I won't be able to do more than just mention where to go with this. Each day of day drag or day flight, curtained within the three curtains of sleep veil, and dream veil, and awake veil. Okay, the place to go with this is a message Baba gave for Stay With God. It's the last page of the book. It's about dreaming and sleep and wakefulness. It's on that subject. It's connected with it. And these three curtains, these are veils too. This is the Vedantic from Vedanta, this trinity of the three states of sound, sleep, dream, wakefulness. And Baba has this central to his metaphysical account too. Actually, in Stay With God, in God Speaks, there's a whole section of chapter 8 on these three states. Sleep, and he gives really, okay, I've got to go through this metaphor. Sleep the forgetter, and dream the distortioner, and wakefulness, the cruel concretizer, who sets the dreams in solid forms. Now look at this metaphor. The painter, whose brushstrokes are bones, whose color is the teeming flesh squeezed out of the tube's nerves. That's what's creating our apparent reality, A painter, you make brush strokes, and that creates the bones of our reality. And you squeeze the flesh out of the tubes of nerves to create all the coloration of our reality. Nursing the wound, gazing with admiration on the face of the lovely spearman. Okay, this is the dramatic setting for this entire book. He's, the image Baba is the spearman stabbing him to death. And I'm in agony and I'm loving him for it. It's adoration of the one who's killing me. Later on, he in this poem, he talks about Achilles, Rama, Baba. And he brings up Achilles and associates with Rama, who shoots arrows, and associates all of them with Baba. And now the love song begins. Now we start to have the first person voice speaking. Small wonder, great wonder, things are as they are, and this business of everything and nothing. Right? The first line of his John Kerry's love song brings up the everything and the nothing. That's his very starting point. This business of being nothing and nobody, nobody feeling he is something. Something. Give me something. Make me useful for something. Make me part of your work, or else annihilate me. Don't leave me in this place where I'm neither one of those. So the whole love song is the sort of going back and forth between those two. Feel free to chime in if you want to bring up anything or note anything. I don't want to just you to feel that you have to sit and listen to me talk the whole time. Now, here's another basic dichotomy in the love song. In fact, I'm going to jump to it where he explains this. This is the best explanation of this that I've ever seen. Praise and complaint. The love song is an exercise in praise and complaint, alternating between the two. And why would a love song involve praise? Yeah. The beloved is beautiful. The beloved is wonderful. The beloved is the possessor of everything that I want. So I praise the wonderful things I see in the beloved. Why would it be complaint? Yeah, you won't give it to me. You don't love me. You won't give me your love. That's what love songs constantly do. So, yeah. Yes. Yeah. Well, I can complain about you're killing me, but at the same time, you're giving your love to me. There are all these twists and ironies in the love relationship.
But that's also meaning in a relationship that sometimes that what you're in love with also drives you crazy.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, all of that. So the modality of praise and complaint is what love songs are all about. And this one constantly is going back and forth between praise and complaint. And here, he explains it, actually. I jump to the very last stanza of the love song of John Kerry. This is John Kerry praising. For complaint is praise, inasmuch as complaint is attachment. What does that mean?
I'm complaining because you're so wonderful.
Yeah.
Not loving me.
Yeah, I would be complaining if you weren't wonderful. And I'm attached. I've got to have you. So it's a kind of praise. It's an implicit praise, right?
Like you're talking about the person.
Yeah. Why would I be complaining? If I didn't give a damn about you, I wouldn't even bother. I'd go to hell. Good riddance, right? But I'm complaining because you're so wonderful, and I can't get you. What's that song Ted sings? You'll always be a fire I can't put out. You know that love song? I can't put out the fire of my love for you, so I'm attached. And praise is complaint, because praise is separation. Want to explain that? Why is praise actually a complaint? I'm not one with you. You are so, oh God, you are so great. But I'm not you. Yeah. Oh God, you are so beautiful. And I'm separated from your beauty. You don't express the complaint when you're praising, but it's implied. So these two are actually, well, the one implies the other. This is actually a beautiful account of the love song, I think. And he was recognizing that this was the beginning of those subtractions. Okay, veil upon veil, and the spear piercing through the veils, and the love and the flesh sloughing off hungrily and healingly. Okay, those are subtractions, right? Because since the sanskaras, the veils, are all being dissolved away. His false self is being subtracted. And he was recognizing that this was the beginning of those subtractions, the sum total of which would be the subtraction of him from himself. Francis will be gone and only God will remain. The false self is gone, only the real self is there. Now he hits us with some heavy-duty metaphysics here. When the 5 sheaths are subtracted, Atman alone remains. he names these 5 sheaths several places in here. They're Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha. Have you studied this at all? Yeah. Manmaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha, and Anandamaya Kosha. These are the 5 sheaths in Vedanta.
There is a question for question like you something about thinking, but not being king.
Yes.
6 plane of consciousness, but here he's mentioning what?
He's mentioning what? I can't. 5. Well, the 5 sheaths, this is a Vedantic doctrine. He's referring to a Vedantic doctrine where there are 5 sheaths around the Atman.
But what I'm saying, before that, then he has he's disparate from count 1 because he sees it.
Yeah.
6 plane of consciousness, that
Yeah.
they are face to face, but they are not one.
Yeah, he's not referring to the 7-plane account of Bhava's. He's referring to the Vedantic account where there are 5 sheaths. And Baba has his own accounts like that. So he's using a different model at this point. He's going Vedanta, where Atman is at the center of the sheaths.